Hello and welcome, this is Rooflemonger, and in this video we're going to be talking about saving Nappa for Season 3 of Dragon Ball FighterZ. Nappa, he ain't been the best even since day one, let's put it that way, that's the most polite way to put it. He ain't been the best. Nappa, even at the best of times, has struggled in this game, and let's talk about what can be done and what changes can be made to make Nappa a better character. So we have done a similar video in the past year about saving Jiren. Now the thing about Jiren is it's a lot easier to identify and assess his issues. It just comes down to basically a lot of things don't work the way you think they should work, right? And if you do make them work the way you think they should work, hey, Jiren gets a lot better. Pretty easy. Nappa is not quite the case here, because Nappa is a weird mishmash of a character to say the least. So in this video, what we're going to be talking about here is basically just ideas to get Nappa to where he needs to be even just a mid-tier character. Not even like top tier or even top of mid-tier, just mid-tier. And let's talk about his issues. So before we can even like have a look at what needs to be changed for Nappa, we have to identify what are Nappa's problems. And we have two major problems here, and they both sort of play off each other. Problem number one is Nappa has some of the, if not the, worst neutral in the game. And what do I mean by that? I mean, his options for screen control are garbage. He has Stand H. Stand H is cool. That's it. When it comes to air, Jump M is a little too slow to be anything meaningful. And it's not like he gets any conversions air to air. His general... anything he can do at a range that's not having you in a corner is bad. Bad key blast, bad projectile, everything that's a normal except for Stand H is not good at any kind of point of the screen other than point blank. It's just bad across the board. Nappa has no presence on the screen other than in your face, and every character in the game, when they're in your face, they have something, right? So, like, that's not anything, right? But outside of the in-your-face scenario, Nappa has no presence and is effectively no real threat anywhere on the screen. So, Nappa has no real presence on the screen. He's not really a threat to anybody at any range other than point blank. And the other thing is, he's one of the also, and if not maybe the most, assist-dependent character on the game. To do basic combos mid-screen, you need assists if you want to have any kind of corner carry. If you want to do some of his, better, Saibaman plant combos in the corner, you absolutely need those assists, right? You can do some basic combo routes in the corner without an assist, but still, to shore up his combo game, and especially to shore up his near non-existent neutral, he needs assists, he needs assists, he needs assists, he needs assists. So with those two big problems in mind, the things that need to change for Nappa is one, he needs better presence everywhere on the screen because it's very bad as it currently stands, and two, he needs to be more self-sufficient. So with those two being the two biggest things by a mile, his issues with just presence and self-sufficiency, these are the things we need to change to make Nappa a better character. So when it comes to screen control, mid-screen presence and just neutral in general here for Nappa, for the general purpose of this thought experiment here, let's just assume they're not going to make whole new animations, right? Maybe they might tweak a graphic or something, but they're not going to just give Nappa whole new, brand new moves just to help him out because, they're going to put that money towards the DLC characters, right? But first and foremost here, since we're talking about neutral here, a very big component of neutral is having a good basic key blast. And Nappa, well, not so much. So Nappa's basic key blast is good in combos. Like, two-hitter, nice hit confirm time, all that fun stuff, right? But using it by itself, either the grounded version or the aerial version, is not a great proposition, right? So with that in mind, let's talk about just tweaking it here. Especially many characters, if you hold down in your key blast, you get an altered version of that key blast. And I think Nappa could be much the same, and it would be a godsend for him. So your regular Stand S here, it is a strong projectile. It is actually the very first strong, basic key blast in the game. Long before Broly ever showed up in the scene, it had the piercing property, right? So the developer's original vision, at the very least, was meant to be, hey, this should be strong, and in a vacuum it is, except for the fact it's slow as all get out, and it's never gonna do anything for locking someone down, right? So with that in mind, have a change here. Just simply holding down and S, you get rid of this initial wind-up, the part where he kind of whips his hand back. Just go right to the projectile toss animation, just to make it that much quicker and actually usable in like kind of a mid-screeny, pokey kind of sense, right? That you can actually threaten with this and just bonk someone on the noggin with it. So once again, just change it here. Regular stand S, it's the same it always was. If you hold down an S, then you just skip the windup and just shoot the projectile as it is, and all of a sudden you have a much more usable basic Ki Blast. Now, keeping in that same vein, his aerial Ki Blast here has a big old arc to it, and it's very difficult to hit people at other ranges other than like if you're very high up in the air, right? Because it has this kind of downward arc to it. So in that same vein, aerial down an S, just give it a different arc. Like Broly has multiple arcs with his aerial projectiles, right? By holding down S, make it much the same here for Nappa. So an aerial down S gives you a much sharper arc, for example. So the drop off either doesn't happen as quick or it happens further down the line. So it is much more usable in an air-to-air situation, or like, you know, people are just jumping around and flitting around. So you have two arcs, one closer to the ground, and one, say if I held it from this distance here, I could hit that little Kid Goku at the end here, because it travels on a much sharper arc across the screen. So these two changes alone, while it's not going to be the biggest difference maker in the world, it makes the basic Ki Blast a lot more usable, and all of a sudden, you know, it's a button worth pressing. Another thing, too, that can be done with Stand S here, if you're not familiar with the lore, this is the move that Nappa uses to kill Piccolo, and certainly not as visually impressive here in the game as it is in the actual anime, right? So one thing I would like to see, and doesn't necessarily have to happen here, but I just think it would be very nice, and once again would help Nappa out, is on top of holding down, you know, change up the move here for a quick version, you could hold S. And holding S basically let you charge it up, and at the end of its little charge up sequence, it would become like a mini beam, a lot closer to what it is in the show. So basically it gives you just another option for more screen control. So maybe something similar to how Jiren Stand S works. So once again, just hold the button, let him charge it up, and then it becomes a lot closer to how it stands in the show. A lot more impressive. You can change the graphic, not necessarily have to change the animation itself, but change the graphic. A little bit of a mini beam for a charged up move, and it's just another thing to help Nappa control the screen, because, yo, Blazing Storm doesn't cut the butter. Now, speaking of Blazing Storm, so I would like to see this move reverted back to how it used to be. So before the Season 2 changes here, this move actually tracked. Now, that said, I would like it to be changed, again, still just a little bit past reverting it, because the one issue I had with this move back in the day was, well, the tracking sucked really bad, right? So I would like the move be reverted back to where it was, where the move tracked, but then make the tracking a lot better than it currently stands, because it was not very reliable. That said, if you made the tracking better, and maybe just the base explosion just a little bit bigger to help, you know, account for the usual Dragon Ball jank of people moving around, just stuff missing, all that kind of stuff, I think it would be a much more valuable move, because as it stands, man, unless you have very certain assists, this move is basically nothing but combo fodder, and deserves to be a lot better than that, to say the least. Now, another thing that would help, and we talked about the one thing Nappa has that is good in neutral, right? And that's Stand Heavy. This is like the only thing he has. That's about it, right? Stand Heavy should be armored, just like Broly, just like Dragon Ball Super Broly, just like Android 16. Nappa is a big character. He already proven, in fact, you know, hey, he has armor, right? It was one of the more shocking things to me when the game first came out that Nappa was the character he was, because I just assumed Nappa would be the Juggernaut style character, right? Just armor from the gills, and obviously didn't quite work out that way, right? But there's no real reason against Nappa being the bigger character he is, the wider character, and even if, like, you know, fuzzies and all that stuff get changed up and all the kind of stuff in Season 3, he's still going to be a bigger target than every other character, right? And with all those things said, just like the other big characters, there's no real reason against his Stand Heavy having armor. It's a valuable tool. It's one of the few valuable tools he has, and it would make it a lot more valuable yet. if he needs to rely on this move, and by all accounts on Season 3, hey, I don't think there's going to be anything less than the crutch it still is, right? He's going to need this move in Season 3, right? So if he's going to need the move, then at least give it a little bit of extra sauce to make it a lot more worthwhile and a lot more valuable, because it's just, while it's good for Nappa, like, it's certainly not as good as 16, Broly, all the kind of stuff there, stand heavies. So the armor, I think, is a perfect little touch to make this move what it needs to be. So those are some things to help his neutral. So let's talk about some things to help his self-sufficiency. And the number one with the bullet, 100% needs to happen, is let jump S combo into jump down H mid-screen. So I'm talking like you do basic combo, something like this here, and that works. So back in the day, I almost thought, oh no, that's too much. And at this point in the game, I realized, no, okay, it's not too much. This is one of the things that keeps him very low tier character, right? Because he can't do a basic combo mid-screen by himself like other characters can. So yeah, you could do something like this, I guess, here. And like you can combo into the down H mid-screen if you want to sacrifice like all your damage. But that's not good enough. Let him just do the basic stuff other characters can do. Like something like this here, all you need to do is change it so either the forward hitbox of jump down H is extended, so, you know, you can actually touch the person, or make it so the blowback on jump S is just a little bit less so he can connect. Either way, works out. Just let him be able to do a basic combo mid-screen without an assist or without sacrificing all of his damage. I think that's number one with a bullet. I think it's eminently fair. He's suffered long enough. His dependency on assists is frankly ridiculous. He'll still need them, you know, for the fancy Saibaman corner combos and all that kind of stuff. Whatever, that's fine enough, right? But for mid-screen basic combos, let him have it. I think that's more than fair. Now, just some other stuff here, too. One, I think the EX version of the Saibaman should have one-hit armor, or otherwise should be able to survive a single hit. Because as it currently stands, like, Lord knows how many Saibamen in this game have been born only to die to a random homing dash, and the person doing that homing dash didn't even know they killed the Saibaman, right? Just purely incidental, like, oh, I killed the Saibaman? Oh, sure, I guess, whatever. Didn't even know he was there, right? Now, for the basic Saibamen, whatever, I guess they're fine enough as they are. You don't really use them in neutral too much and all that kind of stuff, right? But with the quick plant and all that kind of stuff here, you know, you are incentivized to use the X-Saibaman in neutral, you know, have them to be a little buddy to help supplement your game plan. And once again, being that neutral is the biggest thing Nappa needs help with, I think that is very fair. Just a single hit, just so rando friggin' homing dashes just don't wipe them off the map without even knowing they were there to begin with, right? Or just, you know, any old block string or whatever. It's still very easy to produce 2 hits in any way, shape, or form, right? To knock him out and to kill the poor little guy, right? But I think just one hit, just so they don't die to that random, like, I can't even tell you, since this game has come out, man, how many times I have lost the Saibaman just to the random homing dash and the other guy didn't even plan for it, you know? Just, oh well, whatever, brushed him aside, didn't even think twice. So, the Saibaman deserves better. You're burning a bar on this guy, right? It ain't cheap. Bar is the lifeblood of this game. And if you're burning a bar on a non-guaranteed return in neutral, it's not like GT Goku where you can just go from corner to corner and be on the guy instantly or something, right? Like, you're burning a bar on a maybe, and for that maybe to be so weak and so easily dealt with and brushed aside, it's a bit of a shame. So, EX Saibaman, one additional hit of armor, or whatever you want to say, so he just doesn't die in the exact first hit, and let him do his business and let him do his job. So those are the basic things I think Nappa needs. Once again here, the goal is just to get him to mid-tier. Could even be bottom mid-tier. Doesn't have to be top, doesn't have to be top tier, nothing like that, you know. Just to be a workable character. And these small changes, which would help his neutral out, you know, faster ki blast, better arcs for ki blast, and you can choose which whenever you want. Maybe like, you know, a soft style beam like Jiren if you hold the button here, armored stand H, and just some damn self-sufficiency in his combo routes so he can do combos like a normal character. I think these are all the things he needs to be the basic building blocks to make him a workable character. Now, some other things I think are more fanciful, you know, are nice to haves, but not necessarily needs. I'd like to see jump light. I'd like to see the hitbox expanded downwards just a little bit because it can struggle hitting people below him. Jump down H, I've seen a really good suggestion from the progenitor, and jump down H would be like, you know, kind of air immune, just like down H in the ground here, just so he can use it to bait out people who are random homing dashing. That'd be pretty interesting. But other than that, those are the things I think Nappa needs, and they are not big changes. They are not asking for the moon, to say the least. They are very reasonable changes to take a character who's been a bad character from day one into at least some semblance of usefulness. Now, of course, like crazy changes, like, hey, I'd love to see like every jump H be like Blackheart in old Marvel vs. Capcom games, and he just tosses like 3 Saibaman every time he does jump H. That'd be pretty cool, right? That's probably not going to happen. But yeah, just, man, Nappa stinks, and it honestly doesn't take much to make him a better character, right? He's been perennially low tier from the start, been a not good character from the start, and to get him to some just some essence of workability is not too difficult. It doesn't take much effort, and I would love to see these very basic changes happen. Anyways, at this point, that's my ideas. So if you have any ideas you'd like to see for Nappa, or just any other characters you'd like that suffer a bit, then hey, post them in the comments below. But otherwise, that is the end of this video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Dragon Ball.